My name is Dave Conroy, and I'm an R&D lab engineer at CRT Labs. So CRT stands for the Center for Realtor Technology, and it's been around 10 or 15 years or so. It was started by our CTO, Mark Leswing. CRT Labs is relatively new. It was started in 2015 to kind of look at any emerging tech that could affect real estate. So part of my role at CRT is to investigate all emerging technology. And one of the most exciting technologies that I've learned about since I've been studying this is blockchain. It's one of those fields that is so rapidly evolving. Like, I've been studying it personally for about 5 or 6 years, and I'm still learning new things every single day. I think the most important thing to learn about blockchain is it's just a new way of storing information. So traditionally, you might have a spreadsheet or a database. Blockchain's introduced the concept of shared ledgers. So information that is stored on a blockchain, while it is decentralized, meaning everyone who's participating in the network has their own copy, it is almost centralizing the data, as now everyone involved in a transaction has one place to look for verifiable data. So the key about blockchains is they provide a verifiable, trustworthy record of events. And when you think about the real estate transaction process, all the different parties involved, buyers, sellers agents, buyers agents, attorneys, title companies, recorders of deeds, all of these parties are involved in the transfer of a single property. And with transaction times approaching 4 to 6 weeks, we feel like this process could be streamlined through the use of distributed ledger tech, because everyone would be looking at the same information and not duplicating diligence efforts. And I think it's important to clarify all the different type of blockchain technology out there. This tech became mainstream starting in around 2000 and 2010 with the popularity of Bitcoin, which is just a blockchain application. But some could argue, and I would argue, that the underlying technology about how that works is actually the more impressive tech. So since 2009, there's been a lot of development in the enterprise space to kind of come up with these blockchain 2.0 technologies that could be incredibly relevant for industries like real estate. There's 2 major players now in this space. There is a project called Hyperledger, which is an open source consortium that was started by IBM. And there's another kind of enterprise alliance out there called the Ethereum Enterprise Alliance. Now, these are 2 groups of major companies that are trying to advocate for the proper rollout of this technology. NAR is a member of both organizations. When you think of the second one I mentioned, Ethereum, that is more of a public ledger where everyone would have access to it. And you're seeing a lot of great smart contract development being done in that space. Where I see it being more relevant for real estate, at least up front, is underneath the Hyperledger framework, whereas that's more built for enterprise. That's built for businesses where business rules already exist. Already have these relationships between agents and MLSs and brokerages and county offices. Hyperledger really works great in scenarios like that, where there's already established partners and you're just looking at more efficient ways to do business. While there are a lot of people out there who feel like all of this kind of a utopian point of view, or all of this should be publicly available, realistically, to get the most out of this technology the quickest, we're going to have to start with permission-based contribution. The first one that we're working on is Hyperledger based, which we're calling it the Block R. Really what we're doing is tracking the engagement level of our realtor members. Because of the federation architecture of NAR, information about the engagement levels of realtors isn't necessarily efficiently shared at all levels, and we feel that this project would be a great way to start doing so. One prime example was, say you're a realtor from New York and you've spent 20 years or 30 years at the Realtor Association, serving on committees, contributing to RPAC, attending a lot of educational courses, and you want to move to a separate market. We want that audit trail of all the accomplishments that you've had at the Realtor Association to be easily transferred among different offices. And distributed ledgers happen to be a great use case for that. It also helps us become more familiar with the technology, so when it comes to coming to meetings like this at RESO, we have some experience with this tech, and we can help advocate about how it can be used towards properties. One of the work groups here at RESO is looking at a universal property ID. Kind of the way I like to think of it is kind of like a VIN number for homes. There are some really cool applications that in the automotive field, like Carfax. Because this unique identifier exists, you're able to get a complete history about a vehicle before you purchase it. And then when you consider buying a home, you might spend an hour or two in this before it's like the largest financial transaction you've ever made in your life. And because the lack of the universal identifier, some counties are doing a good job at this, but there's no universal way across the globe to track this. With the great work being done by that RESO work group, we're going to be able to build on top of that unique property identifier these ledgers to keep track of events that happen at those properties. For example, assessments or insurance claims or appraisals or properties being listed for sale. And this information could be publicly accessible. It could be easier for the public to gain access to this information than previously. And it could lead to more informed consumers and better property data.